Although Muslims may pray anywhere as long as they kneel and face Mecca, religious architecture became an important part of Islamic culture. In its earliest days, the faithful gathered in the courtyard of the Prophet Muhammad's home. Muhammad himself lived simply and advised his companions to do so as well. Muhammad instructed and led his followers in prayer from a mud brick structure, now known as the Mosque of the Prophet, which was adjacent to his home in Medina. This was a square enclosure with verandas that were supported by palm tree trunks that framed a large courtyard. Muhammad spoke from a low platform on the south veranda. The mosque is the primary architectural expression of Islam, and it developed from the simple arrangement, a walled courtyard with a separate space on one side housing a pulpit for the prayer leader. Although mosques around the world reflect local traditions, they all share certain basic features. They usually all have an enclosed courtyard. They have a Qibla wall with a mihrab niche in it, and this orients the faithful toward Mecca. The large congregational mosques then also contain a minbar, which is a pulpit from which the imam or the religious leader leads the faithful. By the end of the 7th century, Muslim rulers are beginning to build larger and more elaborate structures. The exterior of typical mosques now includes one or more tall minarets. A minaret is a tower that is used to call the faithful to prayer during the 5 prescribed times of day. So here is a mosque that is in Tunisia. This is the minaret on it. This is the Qibla wall facing Mecca. This dome is over the mihrab niche. This is the courtyard. The largest minaret that there is in the Great Mosque at Samarra in Iraq. It was part of a hypostyle mosque. The mosque is no longer there, but this is the minaret. So this is not the Tower of Babel. Many people will see it and say, oh, that must be the Tower of Babel. That is not what it is. It is a minaret. The characteristic elements of mosques developed during the Umayyad period. So the earliest mosque plans were the pillared hypostyle halls, such as the Great Mosque at Cordoba, Spain. So you see these in terms of looking at the mosques. You approach through a courtyard into a pillared space. The interior is divided into rows by all these columns, so it looks like a forest of columns. Then there's the Qibla wall with the mihrab. So you can see that this looks like a forest of columns. So that would be a hypostyle mosque. Here's another view of all of the columns that are in the Great Mosque at Cordoba. As an aside, when Spain was reconquered by Christian forces, this was still a sacred site, but they converted it into a cathedral. So that's why there is this cathedral shape here, because right in the middle of this mosque, they have a Catholic cathedral. The second type of mosque is the 4 iwan mosque. These were originally associated with madrasas, which are schools of study. Instead of having the courtyard that leads into it, in this case the courtyard is in the center, and then there are 4 iwans or openings that are here. 1, 2, 3, 4. There is a Qibla iwan. That again points toward Mecca. This is the Great Mosque that's in Isfahan, Iran. And so here is an example. There's the courtyard. There is the Iwan. This is the one that is the Qibla Iwan. It has minaret towers on it as well. The 4 Iwan mosques mostly developed in Persia. Iwans first appeared in madrasas, the schools for advanced study, and these are precursors to the modern university. The Iwans may represent the symbolic gateways between outside and inside, open and closed. So they reflect the different schools that would be behind the doorways. And this Iwan, this is the northwestern Iwan. You can see it has this soaring pointed arch that is framed, and it has these vaults in here. These are called muqarnas. That is a feature that you will see in Islamic art. You can also see all the features that we talked about earlier as being characteristic of Islamic art. There is script. There is geometric patterns. There is plant forms. So these are some of the architectural types that you will see. You'll see the horseshoe arch in Islamic architecture. You will see the pointed arch, and you will see muqarnas. The last type of mosque that we will see are the central plan mosques, and these are derived from Istanbul's Hagia Sophia. This is typical of Ottoman Turkish architecture. The interiors are dominated, as Hagia Sophia was, by a large domed space that has windows surrounding the dome. And then worship still, though, is directed toward the mihrab. So there's a Qibla wall still, there's a mihrab niche. And this style comes about when we have, there's a certain breakdown of power that occurs in Anatolia, which is modern Turkey, during the end of the 13th century. There are various groups of Islamic forces. The Ottoman Turks migrate from Central Asia. They push the boundaries. They conquer the Byzantine world. After conquering Constantinople, they convert Hagia Sophia into a mosque, and they frame it with minarets. So the Ottoman Empire lasts for a long time. So it goes from 1481 up until World War I. We are going to look at the Mosque of Sultan Selim II in Edirne, Turkey, which was designed by Sinan. Sinan is basically the Michelangelo of Ottoman architecture. He was a chief engineer in the Ottoman army, and then he rises through the ranks, and he becomes chief architect for Suleiman the Magnificent. Suleiman's reign marks the height of Ottoman power, and he sponsored a building campaign that was on a massive scale, unlike anything that had been seen since the Roman Empire. Sinan is credited with over 300 imperial commissions, so this building is just one of his many architectural works. This is his crowning accomplishment, though, and it was created for Suleiman's son, Selim II. So it is a central plan mosque. You should be able to see how it is influenced by Hagia Sophia. There is the dome in the center here. There are half domes, but these half domes are on the corners. And then here are the pencil minarets. So pencil minarets, that's a characteristic that you will see in Ottoman architecture. This also is part of a larger complex. So there's a courtyard in front of it, and then there's the prayer hall. You can see here is the Qibla wall with the mihrab niche. This is where the half domes are, though. On Hagia Sophia, they were on either end. So this is a different setup for that. This complex exterior makes everything on the interior look very cohesive. Also on the interior, we can see that there are squinches that are being used here with muqarnas in them. That facilitates the transition between this octagonal bottom into the circular dome. The circular dome, you can see Islamic tile work on it. You can also see that light is important. So just as in Hagia Sophia, that there were lights around the bottom of the dome, that is happening here as well. Here we can see the same image without the coloring in it. So you can see the muqarnas that are here in the squinches. Those muqarnas are also carried over as being the capitals on these columns. It's a form that is used in Islamic architecture that is very characteristic of Islam. The domes in the center, that is very clear indication that this is a central plan building. The tile work on this falls into the characteristics that we have seen for Islamic art, that there is geometric patterns, there's calligraphy, and there's plant forms. Just like the 4 Iwan mosque that we looked at in Isfahan, this particular mosque was part of a bigger complex. So there are shops on the side that would help fund the mosque. There are also madrasas that are attached to it. Education was very important within the Islamic world, and the mosque was a place that could happen. So just to recap the 3 types of mosques: hypostyle, 4 Iwan, and central plan.